following program is intended for mature audiences.
Romero finds Wilson backdoor feed. Oh, what a stop by Darling and Ryan Ellis. Scott Darling comes across and takes one away. And a one-timer by Dumba. He scores. Short-handed. Glendening throws on the brakes. He scores. What a goal. Rick Nash with a drive and a save rebound. Score! At 28 seconds. Brassard.
Weidman. Russell. Shot. Scores. Chris Russell with under a half minute left.
Marion Hossa back to line. Keith with the shot. Scores. Duncan Keith, the overtime winner. And Chicago comes back from 3-0 down to take game one in overtime.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And download every episode and more at basicallyasportshow.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg,
Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
What about the Nashville Purds?
Should we just get started on that right away?
I want to get to the game, obviously, and all of the games, and the
Greg,
playoffs, obviously.
Did you see the article explaining hockey to Nashville?
No. They do get that blowing a 3-0 lead is not good, right? I mean, they're at least that far along in their development.
I think they might have figured that out. So there's the newspaper in Nashville is the Tennessean.
Right.
And before this season, luckily for them, one of the better Predators seasons in their history, they actually fired their hockey beat writer so they could hire more college football writers.
We talked about this, didn't we?
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
so the Purds
right.
did not have a beat writer this season. So when you're going into the playoffs, well, you want to generate some excitement so you get some extra coverage. Well, the Tennessean had its food critic write an article to make sure that people in Nashville knew what hockey was.
The food critic.
Yes.
It said something about the Blackhawks need to get ready to eat our biscuit.
Yeah, that was the headline. The Blackhawks need to get ready to eat our biscuits. I'm like, are you not aware of what words mean? No.
I almost felt bad for them, but...
Here we go. It's time for the Blackhawks to eat our biscuits. Put the biscuit in the basket. Folks, it's time to leave the Southern breads behind, and if just for a while, focus on hockey. In this case, we're not talking about cat heads or steaming flaky goodness. No, this biscuit is a hard rubber puck, the object of abject obsession that starts Wednesday night and ends only when a giant silver goblet named the Stanley Cup is buoyed by toothless grins and soaring hearts.
Now, look, I know that Nashville probably isn't, say, Montreal or Toronto or Detroit or Boston or New York when it comes to hockey markets, but I don't think they have to be patronized to that level.
Hold on, we're not done.
Oh, geez.
So halfway through, he then starts doing these headers that are questions. Is it halftime? No, there's no halftime in hockey. Just to be different, there are 3 20-minute periods, and 3, being a magic number, is indivisible by 2. Oh, the heck with math. Just don't say it.
Okay.
Shouting, you're a hoser at an opposing player. Now, this is funny, because this is incorrect.
Are you saying Tennesseans aren't up to snuff when it comes to their Canadian slang?
This one's fun because it is such a Canadian thing to say. Hoser is the term our neighbors to the north use to call someone a loser or an idiot. Its origins go back to the early days of hockey before Zamboni machines, when the team that lost the game actually had to hose down the ice for a fresh surface. None of that happened.
No.
Dude, hoser was a thing in, like, 82.
Hoser became a thing because of Bob and Doug McKenzie.
Right, and it was a thing then, and I don't think it's been a thing since.
And it was only a thing because they couldn't say fucker.
It's only a thing in Canada insofar as we like to say it if we want to act just blatantly stereotypical. Like, nobody uses it like in the course of their normal conversation.
Like, it was never really a thing, and then when it was a thing, it was just a thing because of Bob and Doug McKenzie.
Yeah.
Basically. Wow. Like I said, I know it's not...
It's fun. The tradition of the hat trick. Oh, God. Mike Fisher lives in a celebrity soap opera. This is a fun one, too. He's the dashing assistant captain of the team. His wife, Carrie Underwood, is a stunner whose beauty is matched only by her voice.
Oh, I didn't know she was married to a hockey player. That's cool.
Yeah, Mike Fisher.
I did not know that.
I call him Mr. Underwood when they play.
Well, that's witty of you.
Yeah, I know it is. Together, they're an unlikely Nashville love story, cooing over their firstborn son earlier this year. But hockey is a violent game, and music critics can be even rougher. Will they survive the gauntlet of their lives? Will a trade rip them apart, wrenching Mike from his feathered nest? Will Carrie win an 8th Grammy? We can only sit and watch as the puck drops. They describe fang fingers. When there's a power play, you know, like in San Jose, everybody does the Jaws hands thing.
Yeah, that's
when they get a power play. They all kind of put their hands together like a gator chomp.
Right.
That's stupid, too.
You know what we do in Columbus?
Nashville,
on a power play goal, we cheer.
Well, not power play goal, but when it's like
just on the power play?
Predators are going on the power play.
Yeah, we just cheer for that, too.
That get a bit tiring. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to hold my hands up like that for like 2 whole minutes plus puck stop. No, we're not doing that.
So what they do is
we are so behind things in Columbus. Go ahead.
Fang fingers, which is basically you take your index and middle finger, you know, like make the peace sign, but then curl them so they look like...
You're doing air quotation marks?
Pretty much. What we do have is a Monty Python-worthy physical taunt called Fang Fingers, where we mimic the saber-toothed fangs as a way to humiliate opponents on the way to the penalty box, a.k.a. the sin bin.
Do not disparage Monty Python by associating them with your bullcrap, Nashville.
This is tongue-in-cheek, right? This isn't serious.
I think it's serious. It was on the front page of the Tennessean.
The Predators didn't just show up this week to play this series. They've been there. They've been there all season. I mean, okay, we'll take away all the other however it's 13 years. Just this season alone, they've been so good that people are going to show up.
This also comes on the heels of the Predators just showing off their insecurity complex.
Oh, can we talk about God, country, and apple pie now?
Please, can we? So the Predators are apparently fed up with all the visiting fans that were coming to their games when, you know, the big teams come into town, like Detroit or Chicago or whatever. And that's understandable. I know the pain as someone that lives in a desirable place to live. People move from the less desirable places, and when their team comes to town, they show up.
Well, I know it. I mean, just going to a Red Wings game against the Blue Jackets, I understand it. Yeah.
And that's the other thing there is in places where there are newer teams like Nashville or Columbus, before those teams existed,
exactly,
fans were fans of the teams they could see. Nashville, you're going to get a lot of Detroit and a lot of Chicago.
You know my first Blue Jackets game, their inaugural season, you know why I went? Because they were playing the New York Rangers.
All right. So, in a way to curtail that, they went to some extreme lengths. They limited the ticket sales only to their TV viewing market, allowed season ticket holders to buy extras first come, first serve, and the initial sales of the tickets, the individual tickets, were at Kroger grocery stores and the arena itself.
How do you stop, let's say, a season ticket holder from buying extra and just throwing them up on what's that, NHL Ticket Exchange or whatever it's called?
Exactly.
Yeah. There's no way to stop that. Wow, Nashville, jeez.
So then
it goes on.
The other thing the Blackhawks fans do, if you've ever been to a Blackhawks game of at home or road or wherever,
I've been to a road game. I've seen them on the road. Yes.
When the national anthem comes up, what do the Blackhawks fans do? They clap and cheer all the way through because that's the thing they do in Chicago. So when there's enough of them on the road and they feel proud in their numbers, they do it. The Nashville fans didn't take to that. They thought it was disrespectful. Mike, what were the words of the team president?
The team president, basically to curtail this, they said that they're not going to have someone sing the national anthem. They're going to encourage the crowd to sing the national anthem, basically with the idea that it will stop Blackhawk fans from clapping and cheering. Their team president said it would almost be against God, country, and apple pie to shout and cheer through the person next to you singing the anthem of the United States of America.
Oh, for God's sakes.
So before the game, instead of having a national anthem singer, they get the mayor of Nashville to walk to the center of the ice, give a little preamble, and ask all the fans to sing.
Oh, my God.
And to their credit, they sung, and to their credit, there were less Blackhawks fans than I expected there to be. But they were pointing the camera around the arena, and they got one clip, the one they were panning around.
I'm posting it right now.
There was a young Blackhawk fan kind of cheering like, yeah, Blackhawks! And this Predator fan turns around and is like yelling at him. His daughter is the person standing next to him, I believe. I would assume that's his daughter, I think. And you can see as the thing starts fading away that she kind of grabs him like, no, stop, Dad, come on.
Oh my God.
Don't do that.
Wow,
So,
Nashville.
While it seemed that they were going to be rewarded for all this nonsense going up 3-0 in the first period, they were rewarded the opposite way. They were punished for being a little
arrogant.
Double overtime, Hawks win, take a 1-0 series lead, and I think that kills the Predators.
I completely agree. They lost that series last night on one save.
They might be able to get one back in Nashville, but there's no way they win any on the road.
No. Well, first off, they blew a 3-0 lead. Then with 9 minutes to go in the third period, the backup goalie, what's his name, Darling?
Scott Darling.
Makes just this incredible save, which would have been a sure goal if he doesn't make the save, and the Preds probably win. And then they go on to lose in double OT. I don't know if they even win a game at this point. Mm-hmm. That's a killer.
They'll win a game. Maybe they push it to 6 at the most.
I don't know.
They're not winning it, I don't think.
You got to look at it. You got the Blackhawks. I mean, how many guys are still left from the Cup team?
17 out of the 20 guys on the ice for the Blackhawks last night had won the Cup.
And how many on the Preds?
I don't think anyone has.
Point being that the Predators don't have the mentality to be able to come back from something like this. I mean, I could be wrong, but
that's what I said during the overtime. Once the overtime got longer and longer, and I said the Blackhawks are going to win this game. Despite the Predators outplaying them for most of the overtime, the Blackhawks know they're not going to get rattled by that. They know what they're doing. They've been there before 100 times. And the amount of overtime games that team plays in the playoffs, that's been documented by our nervous wreck Blackhawks fans that we know.
I believe after the first period when the Blackhawks were down 3-0, Andy said that he was going to go watch the Cubs so he could feel a semblance of hope and optimism.
The Blackhawks are the Blackhawks, and they have that championship pedigree. They came back and closed the door.
Right. I think if Nashville gets the goal, if Darling doesn't make that save, it's a whole different series because they choked it away and they get it back, and that can change the whole mentality. But when that's to me, that save is the key play of this series, no matter what happens from here on out. And if they can come back from it, more power to them, but I don't think they will.
So the other interesting thing is with the goaltending for Chicago, you would think that Darling making 42 saves in relief in a double overtime game, that would mean he's the goalie going forward, right? Corey Crawford named today as the starter for Game 2.
Goalies have a bad day like that. I don't know if you take Crawford. I don't know.
It's not necessarily that he had the one bad day. It's just that Darling was so good.
But I don't know that you switch midstream like that. That's just me. But yeah, I think the Predators are done. I think that was just devastating.
What other series do you guys want to talk about? Because the Canadiens Senators won.
Yes.
That grabbed some headlines.
Habs Sens.
Yeah, my boy PK Subban. What's he doing there?
If you ask him, nothing.
The first game was absolutely asinine, just all over the place. The own goal by Montreal to kick it off gives the Sens a 1-0 lead. Then the Habs crawl back. There's Subban takes the two-handed slash to Mark Stone. The two teams combined for 5 goals in a span of 5 minutes 43 seconds in the second period. 3 goals on the Subban power play. 2 power play goals and a shorthander. Subban got 5 in a game. Because it's with a slashing major, it's an automatic ejection. And then the Habs I think they get the goal in the third to take the 4-3 lead. They close it off, and then there's a brawl after the game.
Nice.
This is going to be an ugly series. This is going to get very ugly.
It looks like the Hamburglar wasn't up to snuff last night.
No.
And it didn't look like Carey Price, the supposed MVP, wasn't up to snuff last night either in that for the Habs. Crazy game.
But who are you going to go with to come back, though? You know what I mean? Like, of the two goalies, which one are you going to pick to, get their shit back together? Yeah.
I just think Ottawa spent all their energy getting into the playoffs, and I think if they had to have a game, it was probably yesterday's.
And what was the other one? Islanders Caps last night, right?
Islanders
Caps.
2 others. Right. Islanders Caps was kind of a dud.
And Flames Canucks, yeah.
Yeah. Good road game by the Isles, though. Impressive. I thought home ice was going to be a big factor in that series, but apparently I'm wrong.
Well, you can never go wrong expecting the Washington Capitals to choke in the playoffs. So.
Well, but this is with a different coach. This isn't a Boudreaux thing anymore.
Yeah, it's been a couple coaches now, though.
I like the Islanders because I like their uniforms better. That's what I'm going to go with.
I like the Isles too, but I also like the Caps because of the home ice, but that's not a deal anymore. Before the series, I'm pretty sure I picked the Caps. But now I'm going to go Islanders after that first game.
I also want to say I was very impressed with the Flames. I expected the Flames to kind of be one and done.
I think the Flames they're playing above their heads for sure. Mm-hmm. But I think against Vancouver, that's a series they can easily win, especially stealing that game 1 last night because they did what they do. They played tight, and then they won the third period.
That they did. I'm just, I was kind of looking at it saying that I thought that player for player, Vancouver had more talent. Calgary had been playing above their head all season, and that was, due to come to an end. So I honestly thought Vancouver would have an easy time of it, and they might still have an easy time of it. But the Flames were really impressive.
Well, you go out and get one on the road against a tough team like that. That's always a good thing.
The thing with the Flames, though, is that people were concerned about is that they only get a lot of offense from one line, and that's still true. Vancouver has a little bit more depth to them with the Sedins and then guys like Nick Bonino. Whoever wins this series is going to lose in the next round, whether it is the Ducks or the Jets. Remember, I made the prediction earlier in a few weeks ago that the Ducks have no excuse to not be in the conference final because of the way the divisional playoff thing is set up for them, Winnipeg, Calgary, Vancouver. Pissing off all of Western Canada on our road to a championship.
Mike, you're all in on the Jets, right?
I'm pulling for the Jets, but the thing is, I don't expect them to beat Anaheim. Mostly my big thing is I'm pushing for them to win a game and eclipse their success that they had in Atlanta.
The thing is, there's a lot of people picking them to beat the Ducks.
I think that's mostly on Bruce Boudreau's playoff track record.
He was in the second round, though.
Yeah, I don't see the Jets winning, but at the same time, I could see an instance where it happens if Boudreau's again. If he Boudreau's hard, then the Jets might be able to sneak away with one.
He won't be able to do his normal Boudreau because the Ducks really have one goaltender to pick right now, so he can't flop around his goaltending decision and screw with everyone's heads. Mm-hmm. The only thing he can really mess around with is jumbling the lines if they start to lose, which I know he'll do. Or I don't like his defensive pairings that he's picked.
I got to be honest, Zach. I'm looking at all the series right now. If I had to pick one upset, I think that'd be the one I'd pick. Just on, you know what I mean? That's just based on gut feeling. I mean, I don't have really any kind of reasoning behind that, but that's just the one I look at and go,
I understand. That's why, I didn't necessarily want to play the Jets. And I obviously didn't want to play the Kings if they were coming in hot, and I'm glad they fell out. And of the teams they could have played, it's good that they're playing Winnipeg. But this also brings up an interesting argument with the current playoff system. Arguably, the Ducks are playing, of the 4 teams that are in the Pacific bracket right now, the Ducks are arguably playing the second best team of the 4. With Vancouver and Calgary pairing off and kind of fighting amongst themselves, the Ducks have got to play a damn good team rather than playing what would be the normal 8 seed in Calgary. Because Calgary finished with less points than the Jets, but the divisional thing in the East, it's set up nicely where it was actually 1 through 8 playing each other, but the West is all over the place, particularly because the Central Division was so strong, and outside of the Ducks, the Pacific was kind of garbage. A lot of people are picking the Jets to at least go 7 because they think that the home crowd in Winnipeg will rally them to 3 games there. I just think that talent eventually will win out. And yes, the Jets are big and physical and all that sort of stuff. But top-end talent-wise, the Ducks are better. Getzlaf, Perry, Kessler.
So what do you think, Mike? Can your Jets pull this off?
I don't think they can, honestly. Okay. I'm just looking for a 1-game victory. If they can do that, then I'll be happy.
I picked Ducks in 5.
If the Ducks win tonight, I think everything will be okay. If you guys lose tonight, you might be in a little bit of trouble.
If we lose tonight, then yeah, then the panic button is officially pushed. I don't care if it's 1 game. Because the other thing I know is that if we lose 1 game, if we lose the first game, I know that Boudreau is going to go into panic mode.
And it's simple mathematics. If you lose, if you give up game 1 at home, and then you really can't afford the split in Winnipeg.
I was watching highlights on NHL.com today, and they said that the team that wins game 1 wins the series 69% of the time.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that one-sided. I thought, like 55% or whatever. But in the first round, sure, I'd say, yeah, that makes sense because, the higher seeds are the better teams and all that. As you get deeper into it, I would think that it wouldn't be quite so one-sided as far as who wins game one because the talent's more even and all that. It just surprised me that it was that high.
Yeah.
But
see, the other series that start tonight,
Rangers-Pens.
Rangers-Pens, probably the only series I've been seen picked as a sweep.
The Rangers are going to have their way with the Penguins.
I just want to know why I'm getting stuck with the Penguins in the first round 2 years in a row.
The Penguins have a shot to win the series if Marc-Andre Fleury plays like he did at points during the regular season.
He's got to play out of his head, though, because, God damn it, that team has no defense.
That team has no defense, and Fleury obviously has had a lot of issues in the playoffs before. They almost lost.
See, Columbus Blue Jackets, 2014.
They almost lost that Blue Jackets series specifically because of him.
Yeah.
And you gotta have Crosby and Malkin playing unbelievably. Like really, the Penguins have to have their three stars, Malkin, Crosby, and Fleury playing out of their minds to win the series. They just seem like a battered team mentally.
The New York Rangers probably, out of the 16 teams in the playoffs, are the single best complete team.
Oh, don't say that.
No, they are.
President's Trophy.
That's bad enough with the President's Trophy. Now you're throwing this on top of it? God.
The Rangers are my pick to win it all this year.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
But, the Penguins are very easy to figure out. You get a bit physical with Crosby, everything kind of falls apart on the offensive end. They have no defense. Yeah. Fleury is always questionable in the playoffs. I would be shocked if the Penguins even managed to push it to 5 games.
Let me put it to you this way. If the Penguins had missed the playoffs this year, they would be Sharks East in terms of the front office turmoil and what to do with their two big stars sort of idea. Because if the Penguins had missed the playoffs, they probably would have had to break up the band. Remember when they won the Cup, when they played for 2 straight Cups, and Crosby was young, and Malkin was young, and Fleury was young, and these are the guys that are going to lead the Penguins into a dynasty of the future. That was like 6 and 7 years ago.
It's been 6 years, yeah. God, has it really been that long?
It's been 6 years since they won, 7 years since they played Detroit the first time.
Wow.
And you look at this team, and they should have at least 3 cups by now. When you just look at the
2 or 3, yeah.
The sheer level of talent that they have on that team.
To think that Sidney Crosby at this point of his career only has 1 Stanley Cup.
Well, yeah, because back then they were like just loaded for bear, if I remember right. I mean, they were incredible, yeah. Wow. I didn't realize it had been that long. I guess time flies, but yeah.
Like Mike said, the Rangers are just better.
Yeah, well, okay.
Across the board, they're a better team.
I'm fine with this series. Pick them to win this series. Just lay off all that they're going to win the Cup nonsense.
I have them losing in the conference final, Greg.
Well, EA Sports has got it. If it goes the way EA Sports has it, it's going to be a very interesting show during the finals.
Yeah, EA Sports has it as Ducks over Rangers 7. EA Sports has also not correctly picked the Stanley Cup champion in the last 9 years.
Good.
The closest they got was Vancouver getting to the final, but they probably should have won that year, but they decided to not play Game 7.
The Stevie Yzerman Cup starts tonight too, right?
Right, the Yzerman Cup.
Speaking of Southern teams getting a bit defensive, the Lightning.
The Lightning. They're doing their own thing, limiting credit card purchases of tickets to only those with Florida addresses. And for their club and lounge areas at the arena, you were not allowed to wear opposing team gear in the club and lounge areas. Which
kind of strikes me like that doesn't seem like it should be legal.
Well, it's not like they're not letting them in the building.
Yeah,
but it's like if you pay for the if you pay for like a club level ticket, then you should be allowed to wear whatever you want within reason.
I don't know. Maybe it's similar. Maybe the ruling legally is like the same thing with like restaurants that have dress codes. I don't know. But whatever. It just seems petty and kind of stupid to me.
It's Bush
Very
League
Bush
is what
League,
it
yeah.
is.
I mean, you're Florida, for God's sakes. There are people, especially in the Tampa area. The Tampa-St. Pete area is like the Midwest South. I mean, everybody down there is from like Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan. Come on.
As a Southern fan, a team of a Southern team, like I mentioned, I understand it. I get it. But you do this sort of stuff, and it makes you look terrible, first off. But then on the other hand of it, if you don't do it, and your arena's filled with red, then you look just as bad that way.
Yeah, that is a thing, but at the same time, those Red Wings fans coming into town buying playoff tickets, that's money in the Lightning's pockets.
Right,
but they also don't want to play 7 road games.
Yeah, well, honestly, it's going to sound really harsh, but tough shit.
And like I said earlier, there's nothing to stop these people to get these tickets from selling them to Red Wings fans for more money.
I mean, all you really have to – it's like, look, and someone said this in response to the Nashville thing. It applies here with the Tampa thing. It really applies to all these cases where Southern teams feel insecure about other fans invading the arena. Best way to shut up visiting fans? Beat their team. It's that easy. Don't act like a jackass, when the Red Wings or Blackhawks fans come to your arena. Just put together a team capable of beating those teams, and those visiting fans are going to have a shitty experience. That's how you deal with it.
Actually, another guy from the Tennessean, an actual sports columnist, by God.
Not the food critic?
No.
How novel. They've got a sports guy writing about the Predators. Wow.
Well, he said, since the first-round playoff matchup was finalized, the Predators officials have been obsessed how to make Chicago Blackhawks fans feel unwelcome. And then he lists the things. And then he said, go ahead and knock yourselves out, guys. But you know what would really make Blackhawks fans feel unwelcome on Lower Broadway? Win. Novel idea, that.
To the series itself, what do we think in this one, the Yzerman Cup here?
I think I picked Bolts in 6.
Tampa, I'd agree with that. Tampa in 6.
Tampa's probably in terms of when you've mentioned the Rangers are the most complete team. I think Tampa's probably the second most complete team. They're fast. They have depth at forward. They got big physical defensemen, and if
their
Bishop can play well,
their goaltending's been a bit too inconsistent.
Right,
going in.
Tell me about it.
Bishop's first go around in the playoffs, but on the other end, the Red Wings goaltending is just as inconsistent. They're starting Peter freaking Mrazek in net tonight for them. That's the Red Wings are finally on a downslope, even though 24 consecutive playoff berths.
That streak's going to come to an end sooner rather than later, and
next season.
Said that last year, guys.
I don't think the Lightning are going to go the distance. I know a lot of people are picking them, but I think they're just a bit too young, and their goaltending's just a bit too inconsistent. In a couple of years, there'll be a force to be reckoned with, but not this year. So I see them going out at. I think I had them picked to lose in the conference finals, but I do know that they're going to get past Detroit without much of a problem.
I should probably put my picks on the record here. Caps Islanders, I'll take the Islanders in 5. Penguins Rangers, like the Rangers in 5. I'll take Tampa in 6. I think Montreal is not going to have much trouble with the Senators. I'm going to take that at a sweep. Ducks Jets, I think the Jets have a shot at the upset, but I'm not going to bet money on it. I'm taking the Ducks in 5. And Purds,
Vancouver Calgary.
Wow. Damn, you know what? That might be the one.
7.
I'm going to go Calgary in that one, too. I'll go along with 7.
Yeah, Purds Hawks.
Purds Blackhawks. I'm taking the Hawks in 5. I mean, the Purds might get a win, but don't be surprised if it's a sweep. Okay, now I'm caught up.
Last series we haven't talked about yet. Blues Wild.
You want to talk about a goalie whose bottom is going to fall out.
Yeah, well, I think it's different because Minnesota, all they needed was a goaltender that could make some saves occasionally for them.
And they found one.
And they found one, and then they went on a run. They're solid structurally. Ryan Suter's great on defense. They've got some depth at forward. Some guys that have had some kind of sleeper seasons that could finally break out. They have the skill to, and guys like Thomas Vanek,
Mm-hmm.
But on the other end, the Blues are just about as complete a team as the Western Conference has.
You want to talk about a team that's been San Jose sharking since before there was a San Jose.
I was just going to say the same thing.
Right. That's the problem with the Blues.
What happened last year? They got 2 up on Chicago, and then Chicago just decided, oh, hey, I guess we'll play now, and steamrolled them.
They how'd you refer to it? Oh, they ShamWowed them.
They ShamWowed them. Yes.
We got to make that a thing, guys.
Every little show helps. Every little bit on every little show. So, yeah, but Minnesota's been too hot since January. If Dubnyk can keep himself playing at even just sort of to use a football term, a game manager level of play, I'm picking the Wild. The Blues have to prove to me that they can actually accomplish something before I start taking them seriously in the playoffs. And beating a red-hot Minnesota team would go a long way towards convincing me that they're for real this time. So Minnesota. I'm picking Minnesota.
I think I got Blues in 6, but I think they lose in the next round to Chicago.
Oh, that would just kill the Blues fans.
That would just kill their psyche. Well, but you know what? They really care. They just be like, oh, well, the Cardinals are still better than the Cubs.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, but they can always say that. I mean, that's, come on.
I just assume that it's the same fans wearing, the jean shorts, and then they just take the Blues jerseys off and put on the Cardinals caps, and
that's like saying, that's like showing up at the bar and going, yeah, I just kicked the shit out of a high school sophomore. When you say the Cardinals are better than the Cubs, it's like, oh, well, good for you.
Poor Cubs.
Well, I look. I mean, I would love to see the Cubs win the World Series, but reality is reality here. God, you know what? This is a tough one for me. I don't know. I really thought they had a shot in '84, but I don't want to derail us that far down the tracks. But anyway, wow, I picked Minnesota as like my dark horse pick out of the West, so I'd be kind of weird to pick against them here. But I don't know, man. Something just tells me, like Mike brought up Dubnyk and the whole. I think that he's got to turn into a pumpkin at some point, doesn't he?
You would think.
I'm going with the Blues in this one. I'm going to take the Blues in 6. Even though I picked Minnesota to go all the way to the finals, I'm going to take the Blues in 6.
Well, because the other thing with Dubnyk is, besides getting the last 2 games, I think he got the last 2 games of the season off.
Which, as a goalie, is not a great thing.
Right. He started 39 consecutive games.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of work. You need some time off.
You do need some time off, but at the same time, too much time off when it comes to being a goalie, I mean, that's not great either, especially going into the playoffs.
Right.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, okay, he started 39 straight times. Wouldn't it have been better to say give him a game off at game 20 and kind of let him keep playing at the end of the season? Just to kind of keep the routine alive, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, in goal for St. Louis, too, they're going with Jake Allen as a starter, not Brian Elliott, which I think is an interesting move. A lot of people have tried to compare if the Blues are going to win the finals or win the Cup, that Jake Allen would have to pull a Cam Ward and come on in the first series and carry the team to a Cup.
Well, no one's gotten...
He's been good recently.
No one has gotten as much out of a Stanley Cup victory as Cam Ward has.
Yeah, because when I think of somebody pulling a something, Cam Ward is not the goalie that comes to mind. I mean, unless you want to get beat 7-1, then okay, but and take it from somebody who followed him closely all season.
Well, we're getting rid of the category, Greg. So
yeah, I know. I'm kind of glad about that.
Congratulations!
Oh yes.
Oh, Zach. Yeah. By the way, nice job. Yeah.
Thunder Bay Bolts in their second season, or Cup champions.
That's right.
Of the
I'm
CHL.
Tentatively saying I'm returning as a commissioner because I only have 4 votes, but no one else has stepped up and no one else has said anything.
Only one person even mentioned nominating
said,
someone else, which I think is absurd.
Like I said, you did a good job and you handed me a cup. You're fine.
Power walked onto the ice like Vince McMahon. I mean, that's the only way to do it.
And then my fans didn't boo you.
Well,
the Thunder Bay fans were like, "Oh, generous leader."
And he's Canadian, yay! But but I wouldn't be a hockey league commissioner if I didn't come out in favor of potentially league damaging expansion. So I had to push that. The Cleveland Football Browns.
The Cleveland Football Browns of the Mid-American Conference. Yes,
it's about right. Yeah,
they might get a bowl berth this year. So, Cleveland, listen, you wanted to go simple. Fine. You wanted to go kind of traditional. All right. You already had that. And somehow, you managed to go even more bland than the original jerseys were.
So I'm taking it you don't like them.
What I don't like is that they're too clean.
Really?
You know what I mean? I hate the Browns going down the pant leg.
Well, yeah, I think we're all in agreement that that's one of the dumber things we've ever seen, and Nike.
Nike took one place to be innovative and futuristic, and they decided to put a a bunch of.
I want to talk about Nike's so-called innovation for a moment, because during the press conference, which by the way was the live reveal of these was goddamn annoying. Whoever they got to be the anchors for that whole event was just terrible. But I don't know if this holds true for the alternate, but I do know that there's contrasting stitching on the home and road. Why? And Nike is playing this up as some big innovation. The XFL did this 15 years ago.
The He Hate Me guy, I mean, it's on his jersey.
Yeah, the Las Vegas Outlaws did this 15 years ago. And I don't even mind the idea of contrasting stitching. I mean, I don't love it. I don't hate it either. I think it's fine. But to play up something that the XFL of all leagues did 15 years ago, and to do that and say, oh, it's innovative, screw you, Nike. It's not innovative.
It wasn't just innovative, Mike. You forgot about the Nike speak. I don't remember exactly what it was. I'm trying to find it.
I know what it was about the contrasting stitching.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
The contrasting stitching, you're going to love this, guys. The contrasting stitching represents the craftsmanship of Cleveland.
Right.
I hadn't heard that yet.
Oh my God! See, now Mike hated the live show. I thought it was poetry. Well, okay, it was spectacularly awful. I was in heaven. It was so incredible.
The live show was great in the sense that it is exactly what you would expect out of the Cleveland Browns. Like.
The craftsmanship of Cleveland.
Oh, and the Cleveland.
Greg, tell me about the craftsmanship of Cleveland.
It's orange stitching on a brown jersey. That's what it is.
I thought it was kind of an oil painting that was set on fire.
That too. But even better is that the Cleveland and on the word mark on the jersey and the Browns and the pant legs, that represents the unity of the city.
I read something that the team president said regarding the giant Cleveland word marks across the front of the jerseys. He said, early on in the design process, we considered using either Browns or Dog Pound.
Oh, my God, they were going to go with Dog Pound on those?
That was one of the original considerations.
Oh,
it was
yeah, they were.
Which would have been hilarious. Like, I kind of wish they would have done it, because...
Yeah, they were.
But
Dog
they said...
Pound.
They said, we chose to go with Cleveland because it just felt right. It just feels like it represents the unity of our city behind this team.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely.
And they had some similar justification for Browns down the side of the pants. The best reaction to the Browns down the side of the pants that I had heard, someone had said the Browns word mark is down the side of the pant legs so that you can easily tell which team's losing 23-7 every Sunday.
Right. But yeah, so this is what we have. You know what? I don't hate them. I got to be honest. I don't think they're terrible.
But they're not.
They could have been.
They're not better.
They could have been. They could have been a hell of a lot worse, but they're still not good.
No, they're certainly a downgrade from what they had before. There's no question about it. There are aspects to these that I really like.
I like the arm stripe. I like the stripes. Is the most I like the stripes.
That's the one quote unquote innovation that I like, because for a long time we've complained about the death of shoulder stripes on football uniforms, and this helps.
Yeah. The stripes, I think they did a really good job, because just with the New Jersey templates, there's just no way to fit the old 5-stripe pattern on a jersey and make it look good anymore. If you had to go that route, this is the fine way to do it. My only issue with the stripes is that on the brown, if you look at all the other jerseys, to me the middle stripe is like the dominant one for some reason, and it matches the number color on all the jerseys except the brown one. And I think they should have flip-flopped it and made the middle stripe orange and the top and bottom one's white, and that would have matched the jersey, I think.
See, when it comes to the numbers, another thing I like about these actually is I hate the number font. I would have just gone with it's this mutilated block type font that I think they would have been better off just going with standard block. I hate the font, but I am a fan of drop shadow. Drop shadows.
Yeah.
I do think it's underused. I don't want to see every team go with it, but I think one or two teams per league could pull off a drop shadow full time. So I don't mind the drop shadow. I actually kind of like it. But again, it's color placement. I don't like how orange is the number color. I would have had white. I would have had white numbers with an orange shadow on the brown, and on the white, I would have had brown numbers with an orange shadow. So
yeah, I agree exactly.
So that's kind of the thing. Like when it comes to the jerseys, I'm like, I like the stripes, I like the drop shadow, but I dislike the font, the number color. And I really hate that NCAA-sized word mark above the numbers.
Yeah.
Because when you combine that with the Browns word mark down the pants, it makes it look really collegiate.
These were so close to being great. And they just, but the places they fell short, they just fell way too short. Like, there's just too many things you can't overlook. The white jerseys, if you had gone with the brown numbers, like Mike said, with the orange drop shadow, I think they would have been fantastic. I think, of course... Everything. Let me preface everything by saying you got to get rid of the word marks. So let's just get that out of the way right now. But other than that, I think if they had gone with the brown numbers, well, really it would have been basically what they were before. But the shoulder stripes or the sleeve stripes, nice fix. I love the orange jersey, other than the problems with the word mark. But
I like the orange jersey too.
It's just they came so close. The brown jersey with the orange numbers, it just seems to me like all the colors are fighting with each other, trying to get noticed.
I would have honestly. Like, okay, what I would have done, I just would have there was honestly no need to change.
No,
if they really,
especially if this is what you're going to change to.
Yep.
There's no point.
The only changes to the previous Brown set that I would have thought would have been an improvement. One, I probably would have gone with a drop shadow because I like drop shadow, and the Browns have a history with it, so it's kind of justified.
Exactly.
And I would have maybe thought about incorporating the old striping pattern in the style of the new striping pattern. Like, maybe update the stripes in such a way that they can all fit. But those would have been the only two things I would have changed. Everything just seems like a downgrade. The helmet's mostly fine. I just don't like the brown face mask. The jerseys are a mixed bag, and the pants are just awful. The pants, I've seen some people compare them to the Jacksonville Jaguars helmets. And I'd
really?
say, yeah, and I'd say, well, because it's the single element that sinks the set. Like, you look at everything, and it's like, okay, the jerseys are passable, but then you get to the pants, and it's just awful.
Yeah, I mean, I could live with the Cleveland word mark. I could get past that. The Browns on the pants, that's a bridge too far. That's just too much. Especially when you see how good the stripe would have looked had it been complete.
If they had just left the stripe, taken the Browns off, and then maybe put Browns on the alternate uniform instead of Cleveland.
Yeah.
Just to switch it up. Those would be my changes, and white numbers on the brown uniform.
Right, because it fights with itself. It's like hard to look at. You can't really get what's supposed to be dominant. But what's going to be interesting is what becomes I think the orange is going to be the primary jersey. I really do. I think that's what they're going to go with, and what we're really going to be stuck with.
Did they announce though that the brown was going to be?
I hadn't heard. Maybe they have.
Last I had heard that at the unveiling, apparently I missed it, but apparently someone said that they heard at the unveiling that brown was going to be the home, and then when you go to the Browns website and check their online store, the brown jersey's listed as the home.
Wow, that's kind of too bad. Well, they've got till July 1st, don't they, to actually officially declare it with the NFL?
Which I think is kind of what they're doing. So like you can put the uniforms out there, and then they can see which one the fans like more, and then that'll become the home.
But what I'm afraid of, and I've seen a few people bring this up, is we're going to get a Seattle situation where it's going to be brown over brown as much as possible, and that's going to be bad. The brown pants have got to go.
All the combos,
right?
They unveiled them with all the combos worn.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Decent. It's a shame because, I think I said
they didn't need to change.
They didn't need to change first off, but if they were going to, they came within a couple of swings of really getting this thing right. Mm-hmm. But the screw ups that they had were just so egregious that you can't get past them. Even the orange numbers, I could almost live with that, but the browns on the pants, that's just got to go. That's just horrible.
What do you think of the texture on the helmet stripe?
I like it, actually. I don't mind. I should say I like it, but I don't mind it a bit.
It's fine because you can't see it.
Yeah.
Unless you're zooming.
What, the carbon fiber stripe?
Right, yeah, I don't mind it at all. I mean, that's
bother anything.
And honestly, the brown face masks look better than I thought they would. That's not to say I like them better, but they are much better than I thought they would look in person. But as the uniforms go, I think my final rating was a 5 out of 10. I mean, they're not terrible. They could have been a lot worse, but you know what? Hey,
I'd give them a 6 out of 10. I'd say they'd be a solid 6.5 or 7. I'd go full 7. I'd just give them a 7 out of 10 if they had standard pant stripes. It's the word mark that just, God, brings it all down.
I think that the two things that I would have to change to really improve my rating of these would be the orange numbers on the brown jersey and the word mark on the pants. You take that away, and I think I really like this set. But those two things are just so bad that you can't get around it.
At least they will be wearing the craftsmanship of Cleveland.
That's right. And the unity
every day.
And the quality and all of that will be fully displayed every Sunday during the NFL season. With these
as they're losing 23-7 to the Jaguars.
Right. Behind schedule here, but we do have results in the glorious tournament of victory, Flatulent 4.
I've heard it was close.
I will tell you this, just to give you a little tease here, it was the closest Final Four in GTOV history. Both matches decided by 1 point. One single solitary point, both of them, yep.
Whoa!
How about that, huh?
We had 2 barn burners in Saskatoon.
That's right. At the SaskTel Center. You better believe it.
So they burned down all of the barns in Saskatoon?
Not yet. They're working on it. It's going to take a while. But yes, we do have finals. I will remind everyone, the first final was Chimpanzee riding on a Segway versus Left Shark.
Oh.
And, of course, Teddy Roosevelt astride a Flying War Orca versus the Cosmic Turtle.
1 vote.
1 vote in both matches, yes.
Jeez.
Let them fight.
49 votes total. Final scores in both matches, 25-24.
Oh, man.
I could not believe it. I mean, it was like the first one, I'm like, wow, that was close. Tallied up the votes for the second one, exact same score. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. That's how tight it was. But I think we finally had a tournament that I think played up to its expectations.
This easily the best one.
Yeah, easily. Until the championship, then I think it's not going to be so easy after that. I don't think it's going to be so good. But
I think we all kind of figured that the winner of the Turtle Roosevelt matchup would probably be the favorite going into any championship match. Because as good as as much of a fan favorite, I should say, as both Chimp on a Segway and Left Shark are, Turtle and Teddy are just unstoppable.
They're on another level, really.
Yeah.
Right.
So should we go to the scores?
Sure.
Let's go to the scores. Let's do Shark Chimp.
All right.
I'm excited, guys. I'm excited.
This match was
feel my nipples.
Everything you could have hoped for and more. Chimp on a Segway versus Left Shark.
Was there a pattern to the game? Did it go up? Did it go
Absolutely.
down?
Actually, yes. I'll tell you how it started out. It looked like Left Shark was going to run away with it. Then the Chimp came storming back. And then the Chimp took a lead for a little while. Then Shark came back. And it literally came down to the final vote. Any predictions before I give you the score?
I think Chimp pulled it out, honestly. I just feel like the Chimp conference can't be held down.
I have to ride or die with Left Shark.
Chimp on a Segway gets the win with the final vote, 25-24. And what at the moment was the closest Final Four match in GTOV history until we got to the next one, which, of course, was Teddy Roosevelt astride a Flying War Orca versus the Cosmic Turtle.
To quote Wild Wing 64 in the thread, let them fight.
And that's exactly what we did. And by golly, it lived up to every superlative you could throw at it. It lived up. It was one for the ages, as they like to say.
We had Nightwish blaring in the background. Nightwish was blaring as these two titans did battle.
It was something. It was spectacular.
So it's safe to say that both of these got in under their respective spreads.
Yes, yeah. Nobody covered. Yep. like the first match, this one had a pattern too, and this one had a very interesting pattern. Cosmic Turtle jumped out to a pretty substantial lead in this one, to the point where I thought, you know what, this is going to be a blowout. But Teddy Roosevelt comes storming back, and again, on the last vote, takes the win. Teddy Roosevelt destroyed a Flying War Orca, knocks off the Cosmic Turtle 25-24.
Oh, wow.
Setting up a championship, and I believe, I'd have to look it up to see, but I think this is the third straight time the Chimp Conference representative has made the final. And
no, because last year it was Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Well, okay, then Chimp on a segue brings the Chimp Conference back to their second final out of 3 tries.
I believe this is also the first time a representative from Andy's bracket has made the championship.
Yes.
No, wasn't Daniel Day-Lewis from Andy's bracket?
Yes. It was. Yeah. Andy was. Daniel Day-Lewis was from Andy's bracket.
I thought that was from yours, Mike.
No, that was Andy.
No. Oh. So, Mike, you don't have you haven't had a.
I have never had a finalist. No, because a finalist has never come out of the Sentinel Prime.
Cosmic Turtle was your shot.
I thought my shot last year was Iron Man.
I did too.
That didn't go over too well. So
wow.
Well, if you look at the Saskatoon Center, you will see a goddamn Batman banner hanging from the rafters because he was just a champion's champion. So no shame in losing to him, Mike. Really. But anyway, so there you go. The final will be Chimpanzee riding on a Segway versus Teddy Roosevelt astride a Flying War Orca. I'll tell you how much Teddy Roosevelt's favored in this one. Vegas isn't even putting it on the books. It's going to be, I think Teddy Roosevelt wins this in a walk.
It's a slaughter.
It's going to be a slaughter. It's going to be ugly.
It's a slaughter.
It's going to be ugly.
This is Roosevelt 100%. I would not be surprised with a sweep. I don't think it will. I think some people will vote on the Chimp strictly on principle or on nostalgia purposes.
Right.
But this is Teddy's to lose.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine.
Teddy's just been a machine the whole tournament.
I can't imagine. I can't even see a way for Chimp to win this, really. I just can't see a way for him to do it. There's just no hope. So the voting will start soon, and I don't even know why we're bothering. We should just crown Teddy now, but like they like to say, this is why we play the games. But anyway, there you have it. The championship in the 2015 Glorious Tournament of Victory will be Chimpanzee riding on a Segway versus Teddy Roosevelt astride a Flying War Orca.
We already talked about the Stanley Cup Playoffs, but we got to talk about the best sporting event in all of sports. Right?
I thought we just did that.
The Larry O'Brien Trophy playoffs.
Wow, did he do that echo all on his own, or was that a screw up on the recording? Did you hear that, Mike?
I heard that, yeah.
I'm going to leave that in. That sounded cool as hell.
It's probably just a screw up on your part, because if I had godlike powers, I'd do that. The brackets are set east and west.
We, the North!
You, the North, indeed. Mike, the 4th seed Toronto Raptors. The West, clearly the powerhouse. It's going to be a slaughter fest over in the West. The East, there's a whole lot of meh.
Okay, just because the East can't actually play basketball is no reason to write it off. So it's not as bad as it was 2 years ago, okay? We're just saying.
Right, but in the East, there's 2 teams that were under 500.
Woo!
Would that be Boston and Milwaukee?
Brooklyn and Boston.
Oh, okay. So the Bucks actually finished over 500.
They either finished over or at 500.
Hey, that's a great year for them.
But over in the West, the Spurs are the 6th seed, and they had 56 wins.
Yeah, the West
they're
is
the 6th seed.
Tough this year.
The West was asinine tough. The Thunder just missing the playoffs on the final day, allowing the New Orleans Pelicans in their first playoffs as the Pelicans to make the playoff
Which I
field.
think is technically their first franchise playoff appearance, seeing as they had to give all the Hornets history to the Bobcats.
Right.
We're going to have to drag in like a history professor just to figure this shit out. With the, them
No.
history. Do you know?
It's not a history professor. You just need like an archivist to sort through all of the bullshit.
Right, exactly. A museum curator or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure this is technically the first playoff appearance in New Orleans Pelicans history, even though we all know that's bullshit.
Far as we can tell.
Yeah, technicalities. We'll start in the East, just because it'll probably be faster.
Woo!
The number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, 60-22 on the season, the Atlanta Hawks.
Wow.
The second best record in the NBA this season.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, okay, good for them.
But, the Hawks took a while to get hot, but when they turned it on, it was a boat race, basically.
Are they still wearing those the blue and all that?
It's red, white, and blue, yes.
Okay.
Although the rumor is that they're going to red and Volt next year.
Kind of similar to the old Hawk stuff.
They will be hosting the 38 and 44.
Woo! East! Go East!
Brooklyn Nets.
Hey.
Who outlasted Indiana. They tied with Indiana but held the tiebreaker to secure the 8th spot in the East.
We make fun of the East and their sub-500 teams that look at the CHL. I'm just saying.
So, Hawks, Nets.
Well, unlike...
does Brooklyn win a single game in the series?
No.
Does Brooklyn score a basket in this series?
Probably.
I think we'll get a few here and there.
Will they lose any game by less than 10 points?
I think they get one within 8.
If they break out the old Dr. J New York Nets jerseys and uniforms, they might get within 6, but short of that, no.
Can you name an Atlanta Hawk, Greg?
Well, does Joe Johnson still play there?
He plays with Brooklyn.
Okay, hey, all right. That kind of counts. I named a Brooklyn Net. It was by accident, but I did it. No, I can't. I'm sorry. I cannot name a Atlanta Hawk.
Mike, Atlanta Hawk.
No. No.
How about Al Horford?
Al Horford, yeah. That's what I was trying to think of. I can tell you where Al Horford went to college. He went to Florida, right?
He did.
There you go. Okay.
What about Kyle Korver?
Never heard of him.
Paul Millsap?
I've heard of Paul Millsap. Actually, he was on my fantasy team this year. Yeah, I should have known that.
Thabo Cephalosha?
Oh, no. Can't say I know who he is.
Jeff Teague?
I've heard of Jeff Teague, yes.
Elton Brand?
Elton Brand, former Duke Blue Devil, right?
Former L.A. Clipper.
That, too.
Then there's Brooklyn. I'm not going to ask you to name a net because they won't be around long enough for you to even think about it.
Brooke Lopez.
Yeah, there's one.
JZ.
Tell me this isn't the greatest NBA playoff preview ever.
This series is important to Mike because the winner of this series plays the winner of the Toronto Raptors and the newly logoed Washington Wizards.
I like the
Wizards.
logo.
The Wizards adopting a new primary logo for the playoffs.
I know.
And you know what? I like it because that old Wizard guy was stupid. It's always been stupid.
I like the new logo a lot.
Well, it is a round L, so of course you.
I was just going to say it's round and it's
a presidential button. It's also the George Washington Monument penetrating the sky anus.
Another reason to love it. Come on.
It is.
How can you not love that, really? I mean, come on.
I can't unsee that. Everyone's like, oh, look, a star. I'm like, no, that's a butthole, man.
Honestly, I would have just gone for the DC primary that kind of looks like the old Bullets logo.
That also kind of looks like a penis.
God damn it does!
With a hand attached to it.
Oh, it's not that. Well, okay, yeah. All right. You're right, Zach. I still like it, though. Okay, so what...
So they the North versus the nation's capital.
Well, I can actually name a Washington Wizard. John Wall.
John Wall is still a Washington Wizard, yeah.
I cannot
Wizards, by the way, finished 46-36. The Raptors, 49-33.
Hey, that's above 500, so screw everyone.
It's like 16 games above 500. Yeah, nice season there. Is that the best record they've ever had?
Oh, they finished second in the conference last season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
They won the division.
Oh.
They won the division this year, too. So.
Oh, yeah, that's right. NBA seeding rules, right.
I can't name a Raptor. I'm sorry.
Mike, how many Raptors do you know?
Chuck Hayes. I know him. I remember hearing him. Patrick Patterson.
What? Okay, Patrick Patterson, yeah, number 54. Chuck Hayes, number 44.
Amir Johnson.
That Italian guy. I can't remember his name. Does he still play for them?
No.
I can't think of the guy I'm trying to think of.
They've got
DeMar DeRozan.
DeMar DeRozan. Their best player, Kyle Lowry.
Look at Mike go.
Greg Steemsma. Tyler Hansborough.
I'm topped out at this point.
Tyler Hansborough, North Carolina Tar Heels, right?
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah. Just if you guys are interested, the playoffs start in 1 day, 17 hours, 19 minutes, and 33 seconds.
They have a countdown.
No, I actually did that off the top of my head, Zach. Of course they have a countdown.
You never know. You could be smart like that, Greg.
Yeah, I have not shown any evidence of that in 272 of these shows. All right, go ahead.
On the bottom half of the bracket, a very local series, the Chicago Bulls at 50-32 will host the Boston Celtics, who somehow snuck into the back end of these playoffs.
I thought my bracket says Chicago's playing Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah, Milwaukee. I lied. Chicago, 50-32. Milwaukee is 41-41. They finished at 500.
All right.
For the season. So, Bulls, Bucks.
I can name 3 Chicago Bulls. Joakim Noah.
Yep.
What's his name? The guard.
Derrick Rose.
Yep.
Luol Deng.
Yes.
I said I could name 3. Those are
Doug
the 3.
McDermott.
Doug McDermott. Yeah, cool white guy. Pau Gasol. Also a...
Oh, I did not know that. Let me think. Can I name a Milwaukee Buck? I cannot. I cannot name any Milwaukee Bucks. Wait,
really
no, I'm going to try. Hold on a minute.
Not a single Buck.
I can name 1 Milwaukee Buck. Michael Redd.
Yeah, he was once a Milwaukee Buck a long time ago.
Well, I can name a whole bunch of Bucks from 1970 and 71.
I know.
You got Lucius Allen, Bobby Dandridge, John McLaughlin, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. All right.
Okay, stop.
I don't know any of the Bucks then. I'm sorry.
Jabari Parker, Miles Plumlee, O.J. Mayo.
O.J. Mayo, former USC Trojan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How can I name all the colleges they play for and I can't name them on the teams they play on?
Tyler Ennis.
Never heard of him.
And my favorite name in the entire National Basketball Association, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Glad I'm not calling that game.
He's a black Greek guy.
You don't see that every day.
Elsewhere, on the other side of that bracket, a lot of people's favorite to go ahead and win the East and make it onto the finals. Your Cleveland Cavaliers.
LeBron James.
So 35-29, taking on the Boston Celtics.
I can name... I'm going to go... I can do 4 Cavaliers. Okay, now, obviously LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, Anderson Varejao, and Tristan Thompson.
Kevin Love.
Oh, God, how could I forget him?
Mm-hmm.
I cannot name any Boston Celtics at all. Unless Paul Pierce is still there. Mike, can you name any Celtics?
No.
Okay.
Those are your Eastern teams. I think we all have Atlanta in a sweep.
Right.
Just for Mike's sake, I'm going to pick the Raps in 6.
Woo!
Or the Wizards.
We the North.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'll go with Toronto.
Chicago, Milwaukee, got to be Chicago.
What are the seedings there?
3-6.
You know what? Unlike you guys, I actually like the Bucks' new logo, so I'm going to say that spurs them to victory.
Me too. I'm taking the Bucks in 7.
You never know when God might tell Derrick Rose not to play.
Right, and
because the NBA is where upsets happen. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, that's wrong.
Yeah, you're right.
That's where nothing happens.
Well, they have to happen eventually. The law of big numbers says one has to happen eventually, so I'm taking the Bucks.
They're going to happen in the Western Conference simply because all the teams are good. And then Cleveland, Boston, Cleveland.
I think the Cavs in 5. They will lose one game just to make everybody in Cleveland flip out.
Eastern Conference Final, it's got to be Hawks, Cavaliers.
Probably, yeah.
Sorry, Mike, for your Raptors.
In my opinion, this is all just really a waste of time until we get to the inevitable Spurs-Cavs.
Well, I mean, the good thing for the Raptors is they're doing better than the Leafs and Jays.
Yeah, the Jays aren't too bad.
It's too early to say on the Jays yet, yeah.
I'm not feeling the complete despair I thought I would be on the Jays. So,
a kid in one of my classes is from Montreal, and we had to explain like a column we wrote in class, and his column was that the Jays will win the World Series this year.
Well, you know what? That kid, I like his moxie.
Yeah. I just want to say the Toronto Blue Jays are tied for first place today. They're 5-4.
I don't give a crap about
standings. Oh, no, I take that back. They're a game out. Well, you know, you got to take what you can get these days.
All is lost. To the West, we have the Cavs going to the finals, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, even after the rough start, they finally pulled together, and LeBron James being LeBron James.
I'm with Mike.
James was like, I was just making it interesting for everyone else.
I'm with Mike. This really is a colossal waste of time until we get to the finals, but okay.
Like, let's just have whatever Team Duncan and LeBron James are on play each other at the end of the season.
That's what I put in the thread. Because you look at some of the new teams that are in the East, you look at the new powers that are in the West, you got Golden State, Portland, Houston.
They're all going to fall by the wayside.
I know. It's like, this is so fun and new teams and look at all this fun basketball stuff.
The same thing happened last year. You know, we looked at the first round of the NBA playoffs last year. We're like, oh, look at all these new teams who can break through. And then it was Heat, Spurs.
Right.
I think Golden State, and I'm going to steal this from the Bill Simmons, that basketball show he does, but I think that they're having a better season than people are giving them credit for.
They're good, but they remind me too much of when the Suns were really good.
Well, that's not good.
You know what I mean?
Hey, now, Steve Nash was inspiration to Canadians everywhere.
He was indeed, but that didn't help.
Now, they don't do the same run and gun type thing, but they shoot a hell of a lot of three-pointers. And, yeah, they make a lot of them, but if this team were to go cold for any reason, they're sunk.
Yeah,
right?
Probably.
Hey, look at that, Bass listeners. Honest-to-God basketball analysis.
Kind of an accident, I think.
Yeah. The matchups in the West. Number 1 seed is the Golden State Warriors taking on the New Orleans Pelicans.
I'm picking Pelicans just because Golden State doesn't deserve to win anything until they actually name themselves after a goddamn city.
I think Pelicans are dumb.
A Pelican will fuck you up.
Pelicans are mean.
They are. Very.
Pelicans are also dumb.
First off, I can name a Golden State Warrior, Steph Curry. I can also name a New Orleans Pelican, Anthony Davis.
Yeah, it's good. The Brow making his first playoff appearance.
But I think the Warriors win this one fairly easily. I think the Pelicans pick up one game, but it's Golden State in 5.
They will play the winner of the Portland Trailblazers and the Memphis Grizzlies. These are the 4-5 matchup. Portland 51-31. Memphis was 55-27. So Memphis had a better record than Portland, but Portland was a division winner, so they can't fall any further than 4.
I take the Grizzlies in this one, in 6.
The Grizzlies have been really one of those unsung teams. Nobody's really talking about them, but they've been on fire, so I'm going to take them.
The Clippers are the 3rd seed. They finished the season 56-26, actually tied for the second best record in the West. The reward for finishing 3rd place in the conference? The 6th-seeded 55-win San Antonio Spurs.
They're going to win.
Yeah.
Tim Duncan has really good fundamentals. He will not be stopped. He will bore his way to victory.
And it's just so funny that the longer the Clippers have had this recent success, the more people start to realize
they're the Clippers.
Shit, they're still the Clippers, huh?
Yep.
And they're running up against Tim Duncan, who, you know what? Each year I say it jokingly, but each year it comes closer to being a reality. He'll be winning NBA titles at the age of 70 because he's just got a really good sense of fundamental basketball.
Yeah, you can't pick against San Antonio, right? Ever. I mean, you just don't do it. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately for the Clippers, anybody else I might like their chances, but not in this one, sorry. And you're still the Clippers. It's just as simple as that. Hate to break it to you, Clippers living room, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah. This is the best the Clippers have been and probably ever will be. And it doesn't mean a whole lot because they're in the single toughest conference in all of sports.
You know, I don't know if I've ever seen the West this tough. I can't remember a time.
Well, and let me get through the last series and I'll bring up another thing. Houston is the 2 seed. They also finished 56-26. They're hosting the 50-win Dallas Mavericks. 50-32 are Dirk Nowitzki and the Mavs.
I'll take the Houston Rockets in this one.
Harden's been pretty unbelievable this year.
Yep.
Dwight Howard is being productive when he's not a jackass. So moving on from that, then you'd have Golden State and Memphis.
I like the Warriors.
That would be a tough series, actually. Memphis has the size and power inside.
I pick Memphis because, Golden State, they're one of those teams. They've been bad for a long time. They're finally getting a taste of success, but I don't know. The NBA is not a place where feel-good happens. So
no, it really isn't.
I don't think they actually see much this season.
Then you'd have Spurs, Rockets. Spurs
are going to win the West.
Spurs, Warriors or Grizzlies. Spurs, Cavs.
Like we said, we're just wasting time until the inevitable happens.
The NBA is really a soul-crushing machine in that way.
But here's the question. Okay, this is a rematch of 2007, right? Spurs,
right,
or was it 2005? I don't remember.
2007.
So, does LeBron James, do they get their revenge this time around? Do the Cavs finally win that elusive title for the city of Cleveland?
What would be the response to the Cavs actually winning a title there, Greg?
Oh, I'm sure they'd all lose their minds just because it's a title.
When's the last time Cleveland won a championship in anything?
64 with the Browns.
64.
With the Browns, yeah. Last time the Indians won was in 48. The Cavs have never won, and we don't have a hockey team. unfortunately.
R.I.P. Crusaders.
Well, I don't think the Crusaders ever won the AFCO Cup.
No, they didn't.
For some reason around here, they think that winning a sports title will somehow validate their existence.
The sun will finally break through the clouds.
I guess. I don't know.
Sunny, warm days.
And people the world over will finally respect the craftsmanship of Cleveland.
Right.
Okay, so here was my question that I was going to bring up.
All right.
Because, and it's been like this for a long time, that the NBA is extremely lopsided when it comes to conferences.
Mm-hmm.
Should the NBA go to a full 1 through 16 playoff seeding?
No.
Because, I mean, I'm looking at the records right now. San Antonio, 6th seed, 55 wins. That's still better than Cleveland.
Okay, here's my argument against that. In the 80s, it was exactly the opposite. The East was loaded, and it was the West. It was basically whoever the Lakers had to beat to get to the finals. Maybe Dallas would be halfway decent for a season, but it was very similar to the way it is now. Where in the East, you had Boston was good, Atlanta was good, Cleveland was good, Chicago was on the rise. You know, the Bucks had Sidney Moncrief. They were tough. It was the exact opposite of what it is now. It's just the way it always goes. It will balance itself out.
Compare the NHL and the NBA, because they're similar in number of teams, scheduling, and playoff system, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The teams that make the playoffs, very rarely are we concerned like, oh, that team was awful. How did they make the playoffs? God, all these undeserving teams, they're not good. Why are they here?
There were those years where the Predators and Panthers got in just off of, like, loser points.
Right. But again, those are few and far between. The teams that are making it at the back end of the playoffs aren't under 500 all the time.
Winnipeg is a wild card of 99 points.
Right. Winnipeg's a wild card with 99 points. I just think it's an interesting kind of comparison between the two leagues since they play next to each other like that.
The thing you got to think about, too, is if you do that, then fans in the East have literally no reason to show up for games. Because unless you're Atlanta or probably Cleveland, you're wasting your time.
But if you're any of those teams that are on the lower end, if you're not Atlanta or Cleveland, why do you even care about the Eastern Conference playoffs?
Because we the North.
I'm going to give you another example. From 1986 to 41-41, Houston Rockets beat the Lakers to go to the finals. I mean, it's rare, but it does happen.
It doesn't happen in today's NBA, though. The closest thing we have had to that was, I forget how many years ago, but when Golden State was like a 7 seed.
8 seed.
And they beat Dallas.
Yeah. They beat Dallas. That was because it was just this weird collection of bad matchups for one team over the other. I think Golden State lost in the next round.
Yeah, they did.
You don't get Cinderella teams. You don't get teams that just are hot. They come in hot and they win a couple.
No, but if you reseed your, I mean, granted, the chances are minimal. But if you reseed, you are eliminating any chance of that happening. Is what I'm saying. If you're a fan of a team, I mean, you're always like, you never know if this or this. I mean, look at me with the Buckeyes last year. I don't know if they do this or that. You never know. They might beat Alabama. If they pull this or that right, they might beat Oregon. Well, guess what? They did pull off all that stuff, and they did win the championship. Now, granted, I don't think the Buckeyes are anything comparable to, like, Milwaukee in the NBA, but the point being that, if you're a fan, you've always got that puncher's chance in your head. Now, you might not really have it in reality, but you think you do. And that's why you got to keep it the way it is.
If I was a sports fan in one of these mid-level NBA cities, I wouldn't root for that NBA team. Because I would know there is never any shot of this team being good enough to win a title. It just will never happen.
I don't know that reseeding changes any of that, though.
That's the thing. I don't really know if there's anything to fix it.
We've talked about it before. The NBA is hopeless. It's always going to be this way. Always.
Because one player influences a game way too much.
Yep.
And the players have more control in the NBA of where they go than almost any other league. They're always going to go to the teams that they want to play for. So they're going to play in Atlanta. They're going to play with the best player, whether that's LeBron in Cleveland.
Right.
They're going to play in LA or with a great organization like the Spurs.
What if Steph Curry wakes up tomorrow morning and decides, you know what, I want to go play with LeBron and Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love? Who's to say that Steph Curry and, I don't know, two of the other good players that we talked about don't decide at the end of the season, hey, you know what, let's all go to Chicago. The NBA is ridiculous. There is no fixing it.
I hope everyone enjoys the inevitable death march to the NBA Finals.
Where hope is a lie.
We'll be over here enjoying the spectacularness of the Stanley Cup Playoffs.
I like that, Mike. I think that should be their slogan for the playoffs. NBA playoffs, where hope is a lie. I like that. I mean, maybe Atlanta. I think Atlanta could knock off the Cavs. I think that's possible.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe Golden State pulls it together and they knock off the Spurs. Maybe Memphis is capable, but you know what?
Maybes.
We're talking like crazy, maybe miracle Mets type shit here. In the NHL, it's not so far out of the realm of possibility to talk like that, and that's the difference. Ladies and gentlemen, Zach's Tabs, Stanley Cup Playoff Edition.
Stanley Cup and Zach's Tabs!
Bitches, take it away.
All right, so we talked about all the teams that made the Stanley Cup final or Stanley Cup playoffs. But what about all those teams that didn't make the Stanley Cup playoffs?
Go, Leafs, go!
Yeah, like the Leafs, or like the Los Angeles Kings.
Thank you, Oilers.
Who supposedly, according to reports, turned on coach Daryl Sutter towards the end of the season. Reportedly, after a win in Tampa Bay back in February, the Kings locked...
After a win?
Yeah, this was after... Initially, people thought it was after a loss in the last 2 weeks, but then somebody asked Dean Lombardi, the Kings GM, about it, and he was like, yeah, it didn't happen after a loss in the last 2 weeks. It actually happened after our win in Tampa Bay.
Fuck.
So it was like, okay... the Kings locked the dressing room, and Sutter couldn't get in. By the time he got an arena attendant to open the door for him, they opened the door, and in front of the door was a barricade of trash cans.
So the players locked him out?
Yeah, supposedly.
That's awesome, I think. Wow.
Interesting.
Very, yeah. I don't know how I feel about that.
But also, just to reiterate, the Los Angeles Kings did not make the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. What a happy day. Yeah,
and I'm going to be that little black cloud every time and go, but you know what? Now they're in the Connor McDavid sweepstakes. Slim chance, though it might be, they're still in it. And that's a problem.
No, Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs.
He's going to look real good in a Blue Jackets jersey.
Yeah.
Just saying.
If you guys haven't already yet, check out the Admirals' pros and cons for each team in the McDavid sweepstakes.
Okay.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. He didn't even list any pros or cons for Carolina.
And I like for Toronto, it was like, the Leafs need a star player, because who do they have? That's a picture of Phil Kessel.
With no context, just, if you saw this person, what would you say they did for a living?
It's like, I'd say he plays Xbox Live and eats Doritos.
The other hockey note, we had the Frozen Four last weekend.
Did the Nebraska team win?
Nebraska team lost in the first round.
Aww.
The championship game was the Providence Friars and the Boston University Terriers.
Oh, this was a good game, actually.
It was a great game. Providence went up 1-0, then BU stormed back. They were up 3-1. Providence got a second goal. And the tying goal for Providence, and really the goal that broke BU's back, was awful. I feel so bad for the goalie. Providence is just going to go for a line change, so they dump it high into the air.
Oh, no.
The goalie reaches up and grabs it with his glove, but he doesn't realize that he actually grabbed the puck.
I can feel what's happening to him right now. Yeah.
And he just he's opening the glove, looking for he's just kind of looking around where the puck go, and as he kind of moves around, the puck falls out of his glove between his legs and into the net.
I'm watching it now.
And the Rangers won 1-0. 28 seconds into the game.
Holy hell, really? I think I saw the opening face-off, actually. So I'll get to see it.
We'll enjoy it when it comes up in a few seconds.
Who scored
it?
But
yeah.
Let's see. We got Brassard's on the ice. Brassard. Nash and... Was it Brassard? Okay.
Marc-Andre Fleury, first shutout goal is a rebound 5 feet into the slot.
Okay, here we go. Let's see here. We're 9 seconds in. Oh, we're down on the Rangers end here. Okay, go ahead. Keep going. I'll pay attention.
So then Providence eventually scores the game winner a few minutes later. But, man... That's a goal you keep with you.
What's interesting is that this game happened at roughly the same time.
Oh, look at
that! This game happened at roughly the same time that the Boston Bruins were eliminated from playoff contention.
Right, so
look at that.
A great hockey day for the city of Boston, because the Frozen Four was in Boston too, so it was a home game for the Terriers.
Nash with the slap shot. Off Fleury's pads, there's Derek Brassard, bangs it home, 1-0 Rangers. Okay. All right, anyway. Yeah, that sucked for the who was it again, Boston guy?
BU.
Yeah.
Yeah, not great. In Detroit, well, there's a barbershop, and they wanted to show that they were going to give away Detroit Tigers tickets.
Oh, that poor kid. Okay, go ahead.
So they were going to draw a Detroit Tigers logo on the window.
Okay.
You know, people that draw the logos on the windows.
Okay.
Tell me what you think that is, because it's not a tiger.
I don't know what that is.
Like, it's the Tigers. If you scroll down, they have their logo history. They've had some pretty derpy-looking tigers in their history.
But I don't know what this is. It literally looks like a
tiger with Down syndrome.
You know what that is, don't you? It's relative to the mentally challenged Jaguar on the Jags helmet. That's who it is.
It looks like a tiger-themed pancake. It's so flat and wide, and it's got these innocent yet pitiful eyes.
I'm a tiger.
You know what this looks like? This looks like Phil Kessel if he were a tiger.
Ooh, well, that's harsh.
Phil Kessel, and that brings me to the last thing I have. Did you see Joffrey Lupul's quote on their exit interviews about the fans?
No.
Maple Leaf fans.
I didn't do nothing, okay? I was in Kitchener the whole time.
Well, Joffrey Lupul's off Twitter now, by the way. He quit.
Well, that's probably for the best.
Yeah. But this is a
challenging people to fights.
On the Leafs' relationship with the fans, Lupul said, quote, "It's fine. One guy throws his jersey on the ice. It doesn't mean everyone in the stands is an asshole. So, Mike, and since you're Maple Leafs, they also fired their general manager and their head coach.
And most of the scouting staff.
and like 7 members of the scouting staff, yeah. What do the Leafs do from here? What happens?
Well, they need to hire a bunch of people, obviously.
Well, the rumors right now are either they're going to try to get Ken Hitchcock or, what's his name? God damn it. Mike Babcock.
No, you know who the Leafs need?
Who?
Once he's fired in San Jose.
Oh, no.
Todd McClellan.
No.
I was going to say bring Mike Keenan out of retirement, but that's a pretty good choice, too.
He's coaching over in Russia right now. He's got nothing to do.
Keenan is, really?
Yeah, he's coaching for Metallurg Magnitogorsk.
Okay.
Oh, and there's a rugby scrum in the Rangers' crease. My God.
I would say, those are the two big names that have been floating around. Of course, people have been talking about that Babcock would want to be the GM as well if he were to take the job. It's a whole lot. Basically, it's a lot of speculation at this point.
Mike Babcock, one of the more uninteresting people to listen to speak. I'm gonna go here and gonna do some good things with the team, and we're gonna win some hockey games, and we're gonna try to win the Stanley Cup, and that's what we do because the Leafs are a good team, and I believe that this team can win a Stanley Cup if they just play hard and play within their system. I won a gold medal with Team Canada, no big deal. But we need a guy like Sidney Crosby to play for this team, and Connor McDavid is that kid. Go Leafs, go.
You know what? But here's the thing: you probably need.
That's
someone,
not Mike Babcock, by the way.
That was very good.
You probably need someone like that in Toronto who's just going to be completely unfazed by the media attention. Like, you just need someone who can just...
I thought you were talking about a messiah, like Connor McDavid.
No, well, that would be nice, too.
If Connor McDavid came to the Leafs, would you accept him as the messiah?
I would accept him as the messiah. He would perform...
Connor McJesus from now on.
He would...
I like Jesus McDavid better myself, but yeah.
He would perform some miracles, and then he would go on a slump, but only for 3 days before he came back better than ever. And... yeah.
Jesus H. McDavid, I like it.
That's your shrunken edition of the tabs for this week of April 16th.
Mike, what's up with the Geek Show?
Jack got back. He's back from his vacation, came down with a cold, but we got 2 shows in the can.
Okay.
So we're good on that.
Jack is back.
Woo!
Speaking of the Geek Show, Star Wars stuff?
New trailer came out.
Oh, I haven't seen the new trailer yet. Speaking of Geek Show stuff.
And the Batman Superman teaser for the trailer.
Have you guys checked out the Netflix version of Daredevil yet?
I've heard it's bad.
You've heard it's bad?
Yeah.
I watched the first episode. I thought it was pretty good. I've only seen 1 episode so far, but I thought it was pretty good.
It's really physical and brutal and realish.
Well, right now my baseline is Gotham. It just has to be better than Gotham, and it'll be fine.
I had a friend on Facebook that's way more into comic books than me, and he said that Daredevil is the Batman TV series that we all wish we could have.
But we don't. Instead, we have Gotham.
Right.
Well, like I said, I watched the first episode. It was pretty good. It wasn't anything, fantastic, but it was well worth watching. And I just wondered if you guys had seen it yet.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Actually.
Well, it'd be worth a look if you can take a look at it. And that's all my Geek Show stuff.
All right.
Okay. Well, keep in mind, folks, the championship round of the Glorious Tournament of Victory is taking place. Chimpanzee riding on a Segway is going to be sacrificed to Teddy Roosevelt astride a flying war orca.
Don't let us influence your votes, though.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Go to the website, basicallyasportshow.com. Go Rangers, and that's all I got.
Go Jets, go!
Ducks, go Ducks, go. I'm painting it orange right now, guys. Orange T-shirt, orange hat, got some orange socks.
Yeah, you got tickets tonight, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Playoffs. I love it.
That'll be great.
So
Best time of the year.
It really is. Now. It really is. All right, that's going to do it for us. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Later.
Please hang up and try again.